Audio check.
Cue the music and action.
Hi, I'm Dan.
I'm Nima.
I'm Honduran American.
I'm Persian Canadian.
I'm straight.
I'm gay.
I'm technically Catholic.
I'm technically Muslim.
We all carry different labels.
We're all being judged based on how we look,
What we do for a living,
how we dress,
what skin color we have.
but are we really that different?
But at the end of the day, are we all the same?
Did you know every month over 45 million people search how to be happy on Google?
There are millions of articles, books, blogs written on the topic of happiness.
We see celebrities on the cover of magazines happy and smiling at us. Social media is filled with people having a great time.
But what is really happiness?
Dan and I decided to hit the road and travel the world in the pursuit of understanding happiness. And on our way to Hong Kong.
Oh, he's here. He's making it.
We have to keep an eye on him.
I'm talking about water. This guy's talking about liquor. Different priorities. Different priorities. We travel near and far. From the US to Bhutan, the only country with a Ministry of Happiness.
To Central America, asking the same question. Meeting and getting to know people from different backgrounds make you wonder, what is it that we're all looking for? Is it love, being healthy, making more money, looking for new experiences?
Yes, Burning Man!
We started to follow and try to understand a free-spirited individual spending a week in Nevada at Burning Man.
Burning Man is a very rare opportunity to live in an environment that is unconstricted by the default world, our social interactions, the things that become the prison that we live within that we don't even are aware of.
A kid in a third world country trying to pursue a professional career in boxing.
They doubted me a lot. They told me, oh, you will not be anyone. No, it's no future in boxing in Bhutan.
A lot of the kids that I see used to be on the street, I had about 5 or 6 of them that was headed down a really bad direction.
A monk spending his entire life meditating to a nightlife host dazzling the LGBT community.
Gilona Zugowa Chintanga Chigi, Gilona Amchili Zunisi Logi Siji Mapole Mila, the Kashmosa Chigi, Low Rangi.
Hello, everybody! We've been doing this for 9 fucking years! Because of you, we're doing this. Thank you so much for supporting. Let's party!
Drug addict living on the streets of Honduras to successful entrepreneurs.
Me, I just want to be at peace. I don't want nobody troubling me. I don't want nobody bothering me. Period. I don't care what you have, what you do. More power to you.
I don't think that there's a rule. Like, I think there's some people who aren't career focused, and building a career isn't as important. I think that's fine.
A ladyboy struggling on the streets of Bangkok to a rabbi dedicating his entire life to his beliefs.
Nobody love lady boy for real. Only come for lie. That can make you sad. Try to get out like a try to find something new and make myself happy because I no time.
I was judging her prior to going and meeting her, and then as soon as she started talking, there were so many things I could relate to.
Before talking about what connects religions, you have to talk about what disconnects. And I think what disconnects them is egos. I'll call it religious arrogance. You think you know what God wants and no one else does. And it's either your way or the highway.
Sport lover turning his hobby into a successful business, to an athlete looking for a new platform that is not mainstream.
It's all about adrenaline, waking up the soul, stepping out of your zone, finding something new in life you didn't know existed. Things you own end up owning you. So I've never been much of a materialist. Money's great. I don't have a large shoe collection.
I actually contemplated committing suicide. I'm proud of myself because of my past. I didn't let my life stop. I have allowed myself to now experience all these new things and be a part of something that's so much bigger than myself.
A mother who has lost her kid to suicide, to a family adopting a new one.
I am
so devastated over the death of 18-year-old Tyler Clementi.
I want you to look at this young man.
Committed suicide.
After video of his sexual encounter with another man was put on the internet.
I think in my darkest moments, it was like having the absence of any feeling or joy. And in those initial years, I couldn't even wish people a happy birthday. Time is the most important, and enjoy it each moment that we have together.
I don't enjoy when people come and be like, oh my God, I could never do that. You guys are such great people, because then we feel like we did Ellie a favor. But Ellie's our daughter. We get so much more from her than I think she'll ever get from us.
Cancer patients facing death.
I'm a late stage cancer patient, and being a single parent, an only parent, and there's a lot there to have sadness, and as you can see, but I've determined that my kids won't be defined by sadness and grief and the things that have been taken away. There is no happiness if there is no peace within you.
When my mom died, I was like, I know the secret. Like, not everyone knows the secret, that this is just a game. Like, this body's just a vessel, it's just a costume. All I wanted to do was help people use their time that we have in this game, this little blink of an eye that we call life, to not waste it feeling bad.
The healing was that you never lose that pain and that sorrow, that you to use something so horrible for something good.
We all want to feel like we're here for a reason.
Favorite show of the entire year was a show we did with Gary Newman.
Gary would be on my board.
New York Times bestselling author M. Gary Newman.
I think it's a great idea to compare people will not necessarily ever put in the same atmosphere. Of course, life will dictate to us a lot of circumstances, but it's all about what we choose to do with it that will make the difference in who we become in the end.
If you sat down any two people from any culture, any part of the world, they will tell you that they're looking for the same thing, which is to find some happiness in life.
We all have a story to tell.
We all just have a different narrative.
We're all looking for the same thing.
But it's our journey that is different.
Wow.
Thank you.
What a journey. What a journey. Wow. Thank you for joining the World Happiness Festival, the World Happiness Fest. Daniel and Nima, you are, I mean, that's a legacy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. So how do you feel? Because you did this movie a couple of years ago. How do you feel about it when you watch it now?
I don't know. It just brings so many great memories, to be honest. As we were watching, I'm like, I just remember all these conversations and the people that we met along the way. And what we learned, I guess, talking to all these wonderful people.
It's been a while since I watched the 8-minute trailer, and it brought back so many connections and so many things that you forget that you have in common with people that we're all searching for. Kind of like, we all have so many similarities, but we seem to be so different.
Yeah.
You know, so it was honestly very, very beautiful to watch it all over.
We're still enjoying it ourselves. Every time I'm like...
Well, it looks like you have fun in that journey, right? So is fun, is having fun part of happiness? Do you think that that's part of it or not?
Absolutely. To be honest, we're working on another project, and it was a pharmaceutical company. And I was talking, we were interviewing some people, and they told me the same thing. They're like, Nima, there has to be some research in terms of the connection between happiness and not getting sick. Because you said, is that part of being like happy? I really believe so. If you're like a positive, happy person, in my opinion, and some people that we have talked to, I think they're connected, and it really does help you overall with your mental health.
So why don't you tell us why did you work on this movie? What brought you personally? Because I think that we all get into the space of happiness and well-being for a personal reason. So can you share your personal reason here?
Well, personally, I think I was always a happy person, but there was a period of my life that I was dealing with some family situation that I kind of felt like, just how can I be happy again? So initially for me, that was the reason when I talked to Dan.
And to me, it was because, with work, most of us are searching for like high incomes or money. And it's like, okay, but I started making videos for the passion of the art and the love for it. And I had gotten to a point where I just started focusing again on just the business side of making videos. And when we were talking with Nima, it's like, yes, that is success makes us happy, right? But doing something out of passion also makes you happy. So for me, it was bringing that side of like, let's do something that we're passionate about, that doesn't have a client behind it, that doesn't have a message that it's like, we need to give this message more freedom to be expressive visually and storytelling wise, to be able to do that. So that's what I really enjoyed.
And to be honest, me and Dan, we met at the airport because I was in mainland Honduras flying to Roatan, and I was flying with my camera off, but because his passport wasn't valid enough over 6 months, he couldn't pass the security. So I'm getting on this small plane with only 5 people, and Dan was one of the people. And the only reason I started talking to Dan, I'm like, Dan, is it safe? I mean, I didn't know his name is Dan. I'm like, excuse me, is it safe to get on this plane? And he's like, yeah. I do it all the time. He's like, why are you flying to Roatan? I'm like, I'm working on a documentary. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, I'm a camera op. I'm like, are you kidding me? I literally like lost my camera in like less than 5 minutes ago. So after that incident, I'm like, Dan, I think like the universe brought us all together. I don't want to just work on corporate videos. I think we should work on something that is more meaningful. So from that moment that we met, and you saw on that documentary, we were like traveling to so many places, and we're still at the airports right now. Our common ground, we're always at the airport.
So that maybe there is something there that actually makes you happy at the airport. And yeah. So you have to explore. So something that I'm very curious is that there are so many stories. I think that, from Burning Man to I Saw the Hotel in Bangkok, Bhutan, of course. Is there something from any of the people that you met or any of the stories that brought you either a smile or something that you said, oh my goodness, this is it. This is really it.
Honestly, Bhutan to me brought like mental health awareness into like, and being able to like, I need to take care of myself. No matter how fast we're going, I need to slow down sometimes and take self-care, self-love. And at that point, we were in the middle of this project and balancing work.
Exhausted.
Like, yeah. And we realized how important for our mental health, for our happiness, for our well-being, it was to just slow down sometimes, and take some time for ourselves and kind of just take care of ourselves, So that to me was one of the places that really like I had a big moment of reflection because we actually took some time in Bhutan to slow down.
And I think like just that's also related to when we're talking about love or finance and all of that, because sometimes we're looking for happiness or whatever elsewhere, and we don't realize like we have to look inside. I think that mental health is also talking about, instead of constantly looking for something outside, when you get quiet and look inside and think about, like, it's more like internal than something that you always have to be looking for it outside, because then you may not find it, and it might, instead of like finding happiness, also thinking like I'm disappointed, like the feeling of disappointment, instead of like finding what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. I think that at least 3 people on those 8 minutes mentioned the word peace. So it's like being at peace internally. Do you agree that that's kind of a common thread among people that you met?
I would say so, because one thing that I learned myself personally, I mean, I like people to watch the documentary, and because in the documentary we try to avoid giving recipe that like just how you can find happiness. But my understanding, one thing that I took from working on it was, because you mentioned peace, that life is kind of like a roller coaster. There are highs and there are lows, but there was one line that the rabbi said that is stuck in my head, that is like, if there was a solution for happiness, there wouldn't be thousands of books written on the topic of happiness. It's like when you accept that life, that's part of life, because things happens. You might get cancer. Like again, life can like just have good moments, bad moments, but when you accept as part of life, then you find that peace. Instead of looking for something, we're all gonna have bad days. We're all gonna have good days. But I think the goal in life shouldn't be just always looking for always good days, accepting that's part of life. We're all going to have that journey of highs and lows. And then we're going to find that peace that a lot of people, when we're interviewing, like as a mom, when you lose your son to a suicide, I mean, the only thing you can look for is finding that peace to be happy. Otherwise, how can you? You know what I mean? It's a lot of people in those extreme situations. That's one reason we wanted to find people in extreme situations. Then I think peace was one common ground with everyone that we talked to.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I was wondering, how do you select the cast? What was the process? How do you choose one story versus another story? What was it? What was behind?
Well, honestly, I'm going to start this one. It was very guerrilla style, because sometimes people do a lot of research. There are two approaches with documentaries. Sometimes you do a lot of research before going ahead, but with this project, we're like, let's just start. Let's just finding people on the go as we're traveling, instead of doing a lot of research and finding the right person. Unfortunately, because COVID happened, because we still were like just traveling to other places that we wanted to continue. I'm like, we don't have to use everyone, but we wanted to meet more people, and kind of as we're like meeting people and discovering for ourselves, kind of shaping the story. That was kind of
just went with the flow, like saw how it evolved to other people, and someone mentioned someone that maybe they felt like their story had an impact in their lives. So that's how it pretty much grew, and how the characters all.
Like we were going to Italy, Sardinia, to find out why people have a longer lifespan. That's when COVID happened, so we couldn't go. And we didn't know about Sardinia prior to that. Someone said, I'm like, huh, Sardinia? And that part of the discovery of working on the documentary is one of my favorite parts, that when people tell you stuff that I'm like, oh, that would be interesting. And it's still up to now. Like the other day when we met you in Miami, and you were talking about something, I'm like, I wish we were still working on this project, because you mentioned something that I'm like, maybe like part 2. Because I love that part when you're talking to people and learn as you like just talking about it with more people.
So is there gonna be a part 2, or where is your mind now? Or you already have all the answers to happiness?
Oh no, nobody has all the answers. I don't think. No, you never know. Maybe. We really enjoyed it, and I think it's a wonderful topic that I think we learned so much. You were saying that the same thing, that I think it's more than ever, it's helping us so much. There's so many moments in my life that I'm keep remembering, like 1 or 2 sentences from these interviews, some of the people that you saw in that short clip. It's really helping me. Yeah.
In our day-to-day life. Like when something's going wrong, there's so many moments that I'm like, it's just a reflection of like remembering things from the documentary that helped me get through that day when I'm having a tough day per se. So I don't know if there'll be a part 2, but I think the current project that we're working on, I think the end result, it ends up being about kind of happiness. We can't say much more about it right now, but I think happiness is it's in everything that we do, honestly. There is something like, what is the purpose of doing something that's going to make you feel bad, right? So you're always constantly doing something that makes you feel good. So it's connected one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know the relevance and the importance of building new narratives and the storytelling of those new narratives. And actually, all this World Happiness Fest is about building new narratives to rise. As you build a new narrative, or at least your narrative of what is the authorship of happiness and the journey. What are the highlights? How would you describe the narrative that you built? What is the beginning and what is the end?
We lost you for a second in this. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Basically, you build a beautiful narrative with the whole movie. What do you think is the beginning of the narrative, and what do you think is the end? Is there an end to the story that you've told at all?
I think to answer that question, the reason we named the documentary The Author, because I think everyone's journey and narrative is different. So for us, we moved these interviews so many times, but we thought like we are the narrative, the author of our own life. We're more in control than we think. So that's what we thought, like, as I said, like, just when you accept that life has highs and lows, but like with that understanding, obviously things happen in life that is out of our control. But if you feel like just I have more power than I think, if you're the author of your own life, you can control how you want to narrate your life story, basically.
Yeah,
to a degree that you can, because sometimes people play a victim. Yeah. Are you going to be a victim, or are you going to do something about it? That mentality, which goes back to also mental health, I think also ties in with the title of The Author, is important, because I've seen so many people that play that I'm always a victim all my life. If this and that would happen, I would be a happy person. And again, the rabbi said, if you're a happy person, this and that will happen. So having not that victim mentality and being the author of your own life helps you find happiness and peace.
Yeah, that's beautiful. When I saw you introducing yourself as a straight, gay, Muslim, and so on, why did you do that? Because that's very powerful. I mean, that building your own personas in front of everybody was very impactful for me. Why did you do that?
Well, I think like we find a lot of things that we don't, like, we put ourselves in a box of like, this is who I am, and you think you're so different from everybody else, right? And at the end of the day, we wanted to show like, this is who I am. I'm completely different than Nima. We're gonna share an experience, and this is the experience and the result, and we're all connected into the same story, and we all kind of find the same things in common. So the main reason for us to show that we're different, it was to be like, okay, they have different ways of thinking, different ways of being, different ways of acting, uprising, different backgrounds, but we find stuff in common. So in all the interviews and everything, we found stuff in common with all the different people that we met.
Love it. That's fantastic. Okay, so we are recommending everybody who hasn't watched it yet to actually go to Amazon Prime and watch it. What is your recommendation for people who want to watch the movie? What do you recommend them?
Anything?
It's a roller coaster. It is like life. So I would find a nice day, you know, to spend it, and I would watch it. I recommend watching it with someone, because it's a great.
It's good to talk about it.
It's good to talk about it. At the end, you want to have a conversation. You might have questions. You might have opinions, and I think it's good to share with someone that experience, and you know, seeing it with someone that you'll be able to reflect with and have that moment to reflect and talk about it.
Well, Daniel and Nima, this is amazing that you were able to be part of the World Happiness Fest. This is a movie.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, but
thank you for having us. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, but this is a movie that actually everybody that is interested in happiness and well-being, not just from the science point of view, but actually from the practical point of view, and be able to have really important points of view, should watch it. So this is a big legacy that you've created, and you have to be very, very proud of what you've done. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I hope that the journey that you are starting now with this flight to London brings you as much happiness as you want.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you.